I can promise you I'm not going to be doing that. Hey everyone, Dana Leslie back for another Disney dining review.
Today we are going to drop a pretty penny over at
Maybe.
over at STK at Disney Springs.
I don't know about this place. I don't know how they. So I'm very hesitant here. We've never been to. Is it Steak or is it STK?
Well, I don't know. You know, kind of the trendy thing is to like take all the vowels out, like Roosevelt's.
Hello, sister.
Take all the vowels out of it and like just make it be the consonants. So that's like the trend. But we say Roosevelt's, so maybe it is steak.
But it's
Steakhouse.
I know it's STK Steakhouse.
Maybe they'll say the name to
Somebody
us.
help us out here. We've never been.
They'll probably say it to us whenever we get there.
Maybe. There's a bunch of these things all over the world, actually. There's international locations. There's a bunch across the United States. Apparently, some places they're good. But if you look up the Orlando STK at Disney Springs, it does not have great reviews.
It doesn't. So, this is not one of those places, like, I'll say we've always looked past it. We've never even had an interest in going here. I've always heard it's very loud, so I'm interested to see that. We are going at 4 in the afternoon. And this is where I'm not sure about the pricing thing, because there is the option to have like a social hour from Monday through Friday from 3 to 6:30. And it's like a bunch of different things on their menu are on here at a much discounted price, as well as their beverages. But like their signature beverages are like $21 a piece.
But I don't think they're gonna give you happy hour prices if we're sitting in the restaurant. I think it's probably a lounge thing.
I don't know.
The prices are ridiculous.
Yeah.
I mean, in addition to the $21 cocktails, you're talking about appetizers in the $30 range. You're talking about side dishes for $19. The steaks are like,
Pricey. Yeah, there's fish and chips. There's a halibut fish and chips dish on here for $63.
$63 for fish and chips.
I've never had fish and chips that I felt like are worth $63.
What is a steakhouse? Like, what is
But
happening?
even the vegetarian pasta that's mushroom and truffle is $55. So I mean, it's just not a cheap place to go.
Yeah, and if you read the reviews, kind of like the theme is like it's an overpriced steakhouse.
Yeah.
Now, we've never been, and we're gonna try to keep an open mind. But also, I don't know how I can go here and get 2 separate steaks with an appetizer, with 2 drinks, and a couple of side dishes and a dessert. Like, I can't justify that with...
Especially if it's not gonna be...
Right? So what I think we're gonna do, if we can review in the restaurant, because the other thing I've heard is that it's loud not because of the time and it being crowded, but because of the music they're pumping in. Because they like, it's themed as a steakhouse, but more of like a modern, trendy steakhouse with a cool atmosphere. I can promise you I'm not gonna be doing that. But sure.
Maybe I should bring some earplugs.
So first we're gonna see if we can even hear ourselves think or talk on camera in here. We will record some of it regardless of what happens. But I'm thinking maybe we get a couple of drinks so we can review the beverages and see if the $21 cocktails are worth it. And then maybe we split an entree, still get a couple of side dishes, and maybe that's it.
That might be it.
That might be it.
There are sauces that go along with the steak. You can choose one that's included. Every additional sauce is $2 a piece, or you can get the whole shebang for like $16.
The whole shebang. My thing is, if you need sauces to make your steak taste good, you did something wrong.
That was always what my grandma said. It's like your flora sitting here.
Wow. You just call me your grandmother. Okay, all right. It's like if I go to a restaurant and I'm asking you for salt, like you've done something wrong in the kitchen. Like something is off. It should come out and be ready to eat, not having to cover it with sauces. On the other hand, it's kind of fun going to Chicken Guy and having a bunch of sauces and you can choose and dip, but it's Chicken Guy, right? It's frozen chicken tenders that you're frying.
And it's much less expensive. If I'm spending $79 on a steak, by golly, it better just melt in my mouth. So.
Word.
All right. I'm gonna go in with a somewhat open mind. I'm gonna try real hard.
All right. Well, either way, we're doing this. So come along with us. Are you ready?
Yeah. Can I say that we saw one review that said that they left after 20 minutes of not being served, and I told Dan that will be the fastest review that we will ever do. It will be a 0, and we will go and eat somewhere else fabulous.
It's fair. Well, let's do this.
Okay. So we have arrived, and the lighting here is kind of weird for the camera, so that's why we're snuggled up next to each other here.
The lighting is definitely weird. It's not as loud as I thought it would be.
Yeah, that was a pleasant surprise. So, okay, so I got the spiced watermelon, which apparently is award-winning according to their menu. I don't know, but let's try this out.
He recommended 4 cocktails, 4 of the signature cocktails, which are, by the way, $22 now, not $21. How is it?
That is good. Okay.
So this is it's like a margarita, right?
You know, it's good. It is, I don't get a lot of alcohol flavor at all, so it's interesting to me that it's $22. I'll tell you at the end.
I'm kind of in between holding the camera and...
so I'm gonna serve it.
I've actually already tried it.
Oh, okay.
But I do want to try it again.
Okay.
Sorry. Well, that was weird. So it's Woodford bourbon, pretty standard bourbon. I think it's actually really well balanced. It is not one large ice cube, but it is several larger ice cubes.
Which is kind of funny too.
Better than crushed ice, but again, not one large ice cube, but it's actually pretty well balanced. So I'm not totally mad about it. It's decent.
Another pleasant surprise is that you can actually get the social hour menu in here as well. And it looks to be a pretty good steal. So I ordered a few things off of that. I'll be interested to know because their signature cocktails are listed on there, so I don't know if that includes these. If it's a $9 drink as opposed to a $22 drink, it's fantastic. And then we got a steak and a side as well.
All right, what did we get here?
All right, so we tried several different things. We got a few things off of the happy hour menu, and then we got a steak and the sweet corn pudding, which is the side that he highly recommended. So I'm gonna try the jalapeno pickled shrimp cocktail.
You gotta try it with the jalapeno.
I know, it's actually very good. The shrimp is delicious.
Okay, so real quick, this steak, we've actually both already tried it, but I haven't tried it with the chimichurri sauce that came with it.
So we asked for it to be medium rare. It's probably a little more on the rare side, which I don't know. I'm okay. I
would rather it be more rare than more well done.
Yes.
Not a ton of salt on it. There is a peppercorn crust that was an add-on to it, which is nice. It's
not the best steak I've ever had, and for $115,
that's the problem.
I feel like it should.
That's the problem. This corn pudding, which you said was the best side.
Well, that's quite good. It's very sweet, which is the sweet corn pudding, but that's tasty. That is very good. There is a quesadilla on the happy hour menu, and it's cute. It comes in. It's not really it's like a roll. I don't know. Anyway, that's quite tasty. That's very good.
The slider and fries. There's 6 fries on the plate.
This is not Leslie face size.
That slider is quite tiny.
It is quite tiny. Yeah, the fries are delicious though. I already tried one of those.
But I think it was $6, so it wasn't that much.
Yeah. Let me try this. When you have little sliders like that, they tend to get them overcooked, but it's not. It's actually perfectly cooked, I feel like, for a little slider. Has a lot of great flavor in it.
All right, so I don't know that we are able to afford any more food after this, so I think we're gonna dive in, enjoy our meal, and finish this up at home.
Yes.
All right, we are back.
We're gonna get into the nitty gritty, and we have a lot of opinions. But first, if you're looking to plan your next magical vacation, please reach out to us over at Fantastical Vacations. We plan Disney destinations, Universal, cruise lines, and all-inclusive resorts.
The star on this little guy is...
Oh, it was wobbling? It's like I have it on my head.
Okay, I definitely have mixed feelings about this place because I think some of the negative reviews online are a little too far, at least from our experience. It was not like the worst steakhouse in the world. I will concede, however, that it is very overpriced. That being said, we didn't pay that much because right before we left, I pulled up their Instagram page because I was honestly curious if they say STK or steak or what.
Which we still don't know.
Which we still don't know. We should ask. You wouldn't say steak steakhouse. It doesn't matter. Okay. All right. All that to say, I checked their Instagram page and they happened to have this post thanking veterans for Veterans Day weekend, and it said 50% off food for the veteran with ID. And I'm like, normally I don't get veterans deals, or I don't like search them out on Veterans Day, but if we're going there anyway and these steaks are over $100, I might as well ask,
Might
right?
as well, especially whenever you have mixed reviews in the beginning, like.
And everyone's saying it's overpriced, so I'm like, all right, so we go sit down. We order our cocktails, which online is $21 each for these specialty cocktails. In reality, it's $22.
Yes.
However, this smarty pants over here asked if you could get the happy hour stuff in the actual like sit down restaurant portion, not just at the bar. He's like, yeah, sure, it's on the back of the menu. You just get whatever you want.
So they were only $9 a piece, which my award-winning spiced watermelon drink was definitely a $9 drink, not a $22 drink.
Would you not say that it was award-winning?
I think that it might be an award that it got for being the only drink in the competition.
My old-fashioned for $22, way overpriced. The $15 old-fashioned, the Boathouse, knocks this thing out of the park.
Yeah.
But for a $9 old-fashioned, now we're talking. I would get that one again for $9.
I'd go back and get it again for $9. I would not, however, ever get it again for $22.
And that doesn't have anything to do with the veterans discount. That's the happy hour prices.
So, lesson learned here, and this is going to be across the board, right? Go during happy hour.
Yes. Let's get into this thing. Ambiance and theming. So I was super worried about the ambiance because every review I've ever heard about this thing, like the one consistent thing, negative to positive, like they say it's loud inside. They say they're blaring music in there. To be fair, it is louder than I would normally want for a high-end steakhouse dinner. I do not want to pay hundreds of dollars for steak and have rock blaring in my ears.
But I never felt like I needed to like fist pump it out.
That's what I was expecting. I was expecting like a nightclub in there, and it wasn't. It was a nicer steakhouse vibe, but with neon lights, and it did have rock music playing.
At one point, they played YMCA.
The speaker was sort of close to where we were sitting, so I feel like it was a little louder, like where we were, but not so much that we couldn't talk or even record a little bit. I'm not sure what it'll show up like on video. We'll figure that out in post. So louder than I would like, but I wouldn't give this thing a 1 because of it.
Yeah. We didn't think it was like over the top either. Like it wasn't like, but it was, I would say, a little bit above average. It was nice. Like there were people around. It was earlier in the dinner time hour. However, like there were still several tables sat and it wasn't just overwhelming. So we went with a 3.5.
Let's talk service. Our waiter, honestly, he was fine. He wasn't definitely not above average, but I don't think he was below average either. No. So we ordered our drinks first. You asked about the happy hour. He responded to that. Then when he came back for food, I asked, like, I noticed on your social media that you were doing a Veterans Day discount. Is that the thing? And he's like, I don't know. I'll have to ask the manager. But we've done it in the past, so maybe. I'm like, all right.
And I was like, so I guess we'll order.
So I went ahead and ordered.
He acted almost a little annoyed that we were asking for an additional discount. So I don't know if like I've been a server in the past, and so I know that like sometimes you kind of get a preconceived notion that maybe somebody's going to stiff you on your tip or not tip you as well. And so maybe that's what he thought.
I mean, even if you're thinking that, that shouldn't be what comes across in your communication.
Right.
And to be fair, he was straight up average. We gave him a 20% tip on the pre-discounted. So like, if we didn't get anything discount, that's what we tipped him on. And I think that's fair because he was straight up average. So we took, care of him that way. But that shouldn't be the feeling that your patrons get from you whenever you are asking about things. Anyway, all that to say, there was no story. There was no explanation of anything. Like, we asked him for a couple recommendations and he did give us those. And some of them were good, some of them were not. And that was kind of where it ended. Like, it was a pretty quick meal, honestly. That was the other thing I saw in some of the reviews, that they took forever to get waited on and for food to be brought out. Our food came out in 15, 18 minutes, something like that. So it wasn't bad. Straight up average, 3.
So let's talk about those drinks. So this award-winning beverage of mine. I really am curious what award they won. Anyway, I have recently found that I like watermelon drinks on property, so I was kind of excited because I like spicy and I like watermelon.
You are spicy.
Thanks. It was really neither. It was not spicy, nor did I get like a very strong watermelon flavor. Yeah, it was just, it kind of tasted like maybe a very muted watermelon fruit juice. All that to say, there are multiple watermelon beverages on property that I would pick over this any day of the week. I mean, I would probably spend $22 on the moonshine mash over at Chef Art Smith's. So, but like we said, it was fine for the $9.
Old fashioned, definitely not in my top 5. If I had paid $22 for it, I would be mad. But I didn't. I paid $9 and it was absolutely worth $9. So there you go. All that to be said, we rated drinks a 3.
Food. Now, I feel a little mixed on the food because if I'm looking at the price that we paid, I think the food was actually pretty good. But if I'm looking at the price that they wanted to charge me for these things, then it's way overpriced. So I'm a little conflicted here. So I'm just gonna rate it on food itself and kind of look at that. But the steak, it was a $115 steak. So we got 50% off of it. I would have been very upset if I had paid $115 for that steak. It was a fine steak, but it was, he touted it as this Delmonico, like how long aged, like dry aged piece of beef. And then we asked for medium rare. It was more on the rare side. It was definitely not medium rare. And so kind of both of those combined, like we even talked on the way home, we could have made a steak that was better at home, I think, for a whole lot less than $115. So
it's a 14-ounce steak. Yeah, I don't get the whole dry age thing. I mean, I've had better steaks elsewhere, and this if you hadn't told me it was dry aged, I would not have known any different. I think I could go to the butcher at Publix and get the same steak and cook it myself. So if I got this in a steakhouse and it was like $55 to $60, it'd be fine. But at $115 plus the $6 for the little peppercorn rub, it didn't even have any salt on it. Like, it wasn't seasoned. And he asked before I even cut into it if I wanted salt. So I'm like, I don't think so. And he left and he never came back. So, it wasn't super flavorful. It was a good steak. It wasn't a great steak. It just wasn't a $115 steak. Yeah. And so I'm kind of like you, I hate to ding them too much on the food because it was good, but at the same time, not worth what they would normally charge.
Right.
The side dish, the sweet corn, that was actually really good.
That was very tasty.
And then your stuff off of the happy hour menu was pretty decent, especially for the price, right?
Yeah, I was a little disappointed. And I mean, granted, it was just a teeny tiny little burger, which I expected, but to have only like 6 French fries on there was a little weird. But
it was $6.
But it was $6. So anyway, but everything was flavored well and cooked well. So I was pleased with all of those pieces, which is why I go back to, if you're going to go to STK, go during the happy hour time, because I think that you'll be happier.
Yeah, but the only steak they have in the happy hour is a $19 surf and turf, which has a 3-ounce little puck and then 1 shrimp on top of that. And these people next to us got it, and I saw their faces when those 2 plates came out, and they were just like, what?
But it is only $19, so
it's tiny.
it is tiny. It's
anyway.
Definitely not Leslie face size.
No. All that to say, we think the food wasn't horrible. It was good, not great. Definitely not worth what they normally charge. We gave it a 3.5.
So if you add all that up and divide it out, that makes it a 3.25. I had to think about my math again, but it makes it a 3.25, which I definitely think it deserves to be a little bit above average. I think that it is definitely overpriced, so I think people are right there. I don't know if it gets louder as the night goes on. Like if they start pumping that music up more, then maybe the ambiance would definitely cut down. So once again, my advice is to go during happy hour.
Yes.
And sit outside. If it's nice outside, I would sit outside. We
true.
probably would have normally chosen that. However, we wanted to experience what it was really like so that we could appropriately rate it on the ambiance and theming.
I won't be back, but
I might go back for happy hour.
I don't think I would make a reservation. If we were there between, was it like 3 and 6:30? I think the happy hour was something like that. If we were there, if we just happened to walk by and there was room, maybe. I would get a $9 mediocre old fashioned. I mean, cheapest old fashioned I've ever had on property. Like that's.
They have that beer you like too. That sham, the blue beer, the blue label.
Oh, Chimay.
Chimay. Yes.
Okay. On a happy hour?
For $9.
Wow. That's a pretty good price.
So if you are liking these videos, please hit that like and subscribe button so you don't miss the next one.
And we will see you on the next video.